of the Motor City Metrics podcast here at TigersMLReport.com. I'm Rogelio Castillo, live from Hazel. Well, what am I in? Oak Park? Yeah, we're about to do softball playoffs, so I'm not going to be on the entire time, but I just wanted to provide a different point of view here as yeah, just basically wanted to start the guys off. How you guys doing?
Good.
Very good, sir.
Yeah.
Good luck in the playoffs. I'm a little worried you're splitting your focus between playoff intensity and podcast restraint.
Well, that's why I wanted to get I'm ready. I haven't played in 2 weeks, and I'm ready to go. And we're hitting the field first, so I'm a DH. So I got some time and
Nice.
get ready to go. I just saw that How You Lee hit a home run, so there you go, down in Toledo.
Yep, just put that up. I missed a Max Anderson single. I can go back and get it later, but I want to see you out there doing your best Max Anderson impersonation or How You Lee.
Yeah, I might have Max Boltman take up my at bats, or somebody's going to have the camera when I do the at bats.
Outstanding.
But yeah, it's going to be yeah.
Yep. And this is the playoffs, right? Who are you playing?
It's playoffs. I'm hitting second, guys. So
2-hole. That's where you put your best hitter.
Yeah, I'm in 2-hole right now.
I want a screaming liner down the line for a stand-up double.
No, I want.
Oh yeah, maybe a stand-up double might be, aka me huffing and puffing. No. So I don't know if that's going to be happening, but we'll see.
I want a professional Apo single that moves the runner.
Oh yeah, no, do like a Max Clark single.
Yeah, just like
there you go.
Bloop. Little,
there we go.
Poke the opposite field. So yeah, but we're just kind of chiming in here. We thought it'd be fun to have a look at you guys today in your playoff atmosphere. But we're going to talk a little bit Tigers as usual. The Tigers, we have a 3-3 week, basically, kind of people getting all bummed out again, and then come back and win a series at home, and it's all good.
Yeah, no, it was a kind of a series too, where against A's, where the A's they got some pieces. You got Jacob Wilson, you got Clark, but yeah, it's I mean, we got a guy in Luis Santino who's pitched to contact. That does present a problem for a team like the Tigers, so in a good way. But we got a lot of questions that are coming in. Who goes down for Verling? We'll be discussing a lot of that today too. Winfield Perez also had a really good week, and the Twins are coming to town, gentlemen. And I know that Uper, this is gonna be hard for you. You know, you're now back in Minnesota again, right?
Well, we just bought a house in Minnesota. I'm still in Iowa right now, but
okay,
we're probably moving. My wife starts her new job next week on July 1st. She's going to be living in a hotel for a couple weeks while we get this house sold in Iowa and then get everybody shipped up to Minnesota again.
All right. No, Detroit Tiger 84. I understand the question. Just give us a second, man. Jeez, oh, Pete. Also, we also have a super chat feature too. You know, that kind of works. As far as, but if you guys want to go ahead and take a stab at the question, go ahead.
I think at this point, if you're going hitter for hitter, the obvious answer is Trey Sweeney.
Yeah.
Trey Sweeney goes down. Javi Baez moves to your everyday shortstop, and now Veerling can, handle outfield in third base in some capacity. But I don't know. Maybe they'll get a little bit more creative, and sometimes these things work themselves out, right? Where somebody else gets hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Trey Sweeney needs some regular at bats, and it's gonna be consistent. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Duper.
No, I was actually going to say the same thing. A lot of times injury settles the matter, but if barring that, I would agree 100%. It makes sense to be Sweeney. He needs to probably go down and play every day and get really straightened out.
And Mike is here.
Yes, hello.
Oh, yes, hello. Were we looking at people running the bases? Is Raj up? Or no, that's the other team.
Yeah, so the other team just started off with a leadoff double.
That's no good. Who's your pitcher? Is somebody warming in the bullpen?
No, not yet. Jay's good. Jay's good people. Jay's good pitcher. Right. So
we don't
care
about the good people here. We need outs.
Yes. We're a bottom line business here.
I don't know if you guys know that, but Trevor Bauer's available.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, sorry. But yeah, no, that's a good question. But I don't know. I mean, how much do we want to recap that Rays series? Do we want to go back to that at all? Do we want to start with today's game and work back? Do we want to go to that last week and come back now?
Well, the Rays series, I mean, it really boiled down. They came in and ran into a real hot ball club, right? I mean, the Rays have been trouncing a lot of people. I think they were 22-8, something like that. And they put it, they put a steamroll to the Tigers for 2 nights. I thought it was really nice that the Tigers jumped back into it on Sunday and really took control of that game and was never in doubt past about the 4th inning. They could have easily thought of it as a travel day and get out of town and get out of Dodge and mail that game in, and they did not.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, it doesn't take much for things to go wrong and basically to spoil a game, right? And in the first game, Jack Flaherty was just bad. Like, he was okay for a while, and then things got really ugly. And in the second game, I think it was, maybe I have the games reversed, but they went with the opener, and they had just about the worst possible opening series you could think of. I mean, they had, other than the drop third strike, and then all the runs came after that. And I still hate the drop third strike rule. I get it, I guess. You got to complete an out at every other base, but and in my head, I'm thinking it's more like losing the ball in the exchange or catching the ball and then dropping it when you throw. It all depends. I guess if it's a wild pitch, but I don't like the idea of being rewarded for doing something bad on offense. But in any event, the opener did not work. They gave up 4 runs, and it's hard to win any games when you give up 4 runs in the first, and they did it in back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm. The way the bullpen has been going, the opener has not been the success it has been in prior, in the past. I don't think it's a reason to get rid of it, though. I mean, to move away from it. I don't think they will. I just think they have to get a little bit better luck. I mean, Herder gets out of that inning without the pass ball, right? Yep. And then we're talking a whole different discussion. I think it also kind of affected his. He had to pitch in the rain the following day, and he really looked uncomfortable. And I don't know if there was any residual confidence or lack of confidence from the day before, or if it was just the wet mound. But I was surprised he didn't get on the mound in the A's series, if I'm not mistaken. Because I would have thought they would want to get him on the mound to get past that.
Well, I was a little bit confused as to why he did pitch, on Sunday after struggling on the opener on Monday or Saturday. But, I guess they just needed the inning or whatever. But he ended up having to come back out, or he got booted. Yeah. But yeah, it was, as you said, and you try to warn us. I don't know if that was going to be your warning, and we skipped your segments last week. I know you wanted to talk about the Rays because they were super hot. You look at that team, and Yandy Diaz is a guy that people have talked a lot about trading for him in the past, and having him play third, and he hasn't played third in forever. But he is a very good offensive player, particularly when he's putting the ball in the air, and it seemed like they couldn't get him out at all for a couple days.
Right.
And Junior Caminero is going to be an absolute star. So they got some pieces down there, and it was nice to see the Tigers scratch across that win. Good start from Casey Mize, and the bats exploded late, which is always fun to see off a former top 10 prospect in baseball, Forrest Whitley.
One-time Tiger fan target. The lament over getting Franklin Perez.
Yes, he was the guy that they couldn't get. They couldn't get Franklin Perez, or they couldn't get Forrest Whitley, so they had to settle for Franklin Perez. They couldn't get Kyle Tucker, which probably would have helped. But yeah, I don't know. Mike, how are you? I haven't heard.
Hey,
you've been here. You haven't had a chance to talk yet.
Yeah, it's okay. I looked at the Rays series. In terms of, their offense wasn't terrible. It just seemed like against the Reds, and God, I can't even remember the last series they lost before that. But it just seems like in their series losses, their offense goes stagnant. And it was kind of interesting to see that's not what happened against the Rays. It was the bats were flying on both for both teams. And the way I look at it is it maybe gets rid of the illusion that this is like a perfect team. And what I mean by that is team with the best record in baseball needs several upgrades, And I look at it, I think they need at least 2 arms to add to this bullpen, and I don't know from where. I'm not saying they need to go get 2 guys, but just need at least 2 arms, 2 fresh guys. And that series just kind of spelled it for you. It was like, hey, look what happens when you run into a team that's hot. Your bullpen's not gonna handle a team that's hitting hot well, and maybe a bit of a wake up call almost.
I hear it.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that it's kind of remarkable to me, and we just have not seen. I mean, every time it feels like something's going wrong, like, oh boy, they're in trouble now. It just stops. They're one of 3 teams that hasn't had a losing streak of more than 3 games this year. The Tigers, I believe the Cubs, and the Astros, and the Cubs may have had one by now. I don't know. So yeah, they haven't gone on this crazy long winning streak either. I think their longest winning streak was 5, maybe 6.
I'm looking right now. I see 5 once, twice, 3. Yeah, 3 times it goes to 5, but it never goes more than 5.
They've just been playing really steady baseball. You know, they had, and it's been a while, I think, since they had a 5-game winning streak. They're kind of hovering around like a 500 team right now, which is fine because they banked so many wins so early. They're just kind of going along, and we're seeing other guys chip in regularly. We'll talk about that specifically in just a second. But yeah, I think the vibes are still pretty good, right? Like I know there's some concern, but it's hard to be too concerned when you're got a 9.5 game lead in the division.
Yeah.
At the halfway point, you're the first team to 50 wins. You've got 50 wins. At the halfway point, you're on pace for 100 wins. Yeah, this is a really fun, good baseball team. It's been a fun, good baseball season. And now we get to it's been a decade, I think, basically, since we've had a time to think about really adding players at the trade deadline. And I think that's going to be a lot of the discussion over the next few weeks.
100%. Yeah, it's amazing. We're touching on something I was going to touch on when we get inside the numbers, but I'll say it this way. They haven't had the big outlandish winning streaks. They've shown something I've talked about for years, and I call it the power of 3-2, right? If you just keep going 3-2, it doesn't sound sexy, but it's got teeth to it. You just keep grinding out more wins than losses, and that's 600 baseball, 3-2, right? And that's kind of how this team feels. They go 3-2. And just kind of keep repeating that.
Yeah, it's been fun. I will say that. We could. I think. We've covered the Rays series. That's also a silly stadium. It's not their fault, obviously, but sort of it is their ownership. The Winsel Perez home run was great because it was only a home run there and in Yankee Stadium, and that's what you get. Funny
that it is the Yankees minor league stadium.
Yeah, and just playing baseball outside in Florida in the summer is just it's bad, but nice to get that win. And then they come back against the A's, and it's like, what? Wait a minute, Tarek Skubal gives up a 2-run homer right away, and suddenly he gives up 4 runs, and this is what's going on? What's wrong with Skubal? And then it's the Winsel Perez game. The offense shows up, and Perez goes out there and has just a spectacular game. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that one.
For someone who was an infielder for the bulk of his career in the minors. And last year at times looked a little lost in the outfield, banging into Parker Meadows quite often and doing a few things. And who missed quite a bit of time this year. He really looks like he's settled in to the outfield. There's no wincing for Wenzel out there anymore. And those plays he made the diving catch was great to end the game. But the 2 throws were on the money. I mean, they were so beautiful. Matter of fact, those throws were so accurate, it's hard to believe he has the yips in the infield throwing.
It's the damnedest thing, right? Like he couldn't make a throw from 30 feet, but he's throwing 2 perfect darts from 200 plus.
Yeah,
it's
crazy
baseball.
And then offensively, I'm going to say something you probably shouldn't say because comps are weird. But how does poor man's Jose Ramirez sound to you for Wenzel Perez? You kind of feel it at times.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, obviously he's a switch hitter. He's not a super large guy, but and he doesn't hit the ball incredibly hard. But he seems to he has like the perfect launch angle. He just knows how to backspin the ball and get it over the fence. He does a good job at pulling the ball, but he's also hit a couple opposite field home runs. And he's got some speed to him. Like, obviously, Jose Ramirez is probably a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
We're not saying that this is a poor man's, but he's playing a little bit like that right now. The big knock on him was that he couldn't hit from the right side, and he's been bonkers from the right side so far. Like, it's a small sample, so you can't put too much into it. But if he's going to hit from both sides of the plate, he's going to play every day, and it's going to be. We talked about it before. Like, his role was going to be the fourth outfielder, and he's still going to get like 500 ABs. This was before he was hurt, because he can do a little bit of everything. But if he's playing like this, he's going to be in the outfield just about every day, and they're going to find spots for Gary Carpenter. It's just the way it is.
It's what it feels like, just in terms of the power that he's showing. It feels like offensively, he's what I was hoping Gary Carpenter would be doing this year. Granted, he's not walking a whole ton more than Carey is. Still walking more, but I really thought this year was going to be the year that Carey started raking, and instead Perez just needed a little stint. I don't know. I just look at him. He's one of those X Factor kind of guys. I look at him and Matt Vierling as just kind of guys. I don't mean to like belittle them in saying this, but like they're extra guys. And it's basically like anything they provide for you, considering you look at the roster and it feels like the places that they slot in, you already had guys there, but he's adding more to it. Like, I already feel like the Tigers had two really good outfielders, and when Parker Meadows comes on, you love their outfield. And then you have this fourth guy who's like, oh yeah, I'm actually on a bigger tear than all three of them right now. So, well, maybe not Riley, but
Yeah. Well, and to your point though, like, they are kind of extra guys. So is Zach McKinstry. McKinstry was a guy, like, a lot of people wanted to get rid of him. He's second in WAR for the offense this year. And good teams have good extra guys, if that makes sense. How many times have the Dodgers had Kike Hernandez, like Chris Taylor, and all these other guys that they have the superstars too, and that helps. That wins you games. But having these guys who could show up, it wouldn't shock me at all if down the road, like, Tigers in the playoffs, and it's Winslow Perez or Zach McKinstry having like a 2-homer game, just because they're solid players. They can't be the only players on your team, but they're very good situational players and secondary players, and you need that to consistently win. We've talked about it. It's this Perez thing is not going to last, right? He's not going to be a 170 WRC plus hitter all year. I think he was close to 100 last year, a little bit under.
Yeah.
He was remarkably average last year, which is fine.
People I don't know. Nobody appreciates how good it is to be an average baseball player.
Right. I'll take an unpolarizing guy over the last 3 years of Javi. I mean, maybe that's what I'm supposed to say, but
yeah. But it feels like, somebody else will step up when that, Riley Green has been on this crazy heater. Maybe Carpenter picks it back up. Maybe Torkelson picks it up. He had a really nice game today. Maybe Parker Meadows starts to get hot. So they've got enough pieces now that you still want more, right? But this is why they haven't gone through those long losing streaks. They've got solid pitching, in some cases very good pitching, and an offense that just kind of finds a way. So,
and defensively, they're good enough. They're good. I mean, they had that one meltdown game a few days ago, but otherwise, defensively, they're a solid baseball team. And you mentioned him, and I was going to mention he's starting to pick it up. He's looking better to me. Parker Meadows' bats are getting better and better. The last few games, he's making some contact, getting some base hits, getting himself on base, and if he can keep that rolling, that just changes the whole offense.
Yeah, I think right now it feels, it's only been a week or so, but Parker Meadows seems to put together plate appearances that are, they're not quite Gleyber Torres plate appearances, but they're up there with anybody else on the roster in terms of, like, he doesn't expand very much. You can beat him, he'll strike out, but he'll take his walks too. And if I don't know if the Tigers are going to start running more. It seems like they're not. At least stealing bases. They're so good at taking the extra base. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was an article from Mike Petriello at MLB that basically the best extra base taking team since 1974 or something like that.
This is just unbelievable when you think about it.
And all the other teams, I think, were in the 70s or 80s. Like, they're doing such a good job at taking extra bases that they don't necessarily need to steal. But it's still fun if Parker Meadows can steal you a base or two, and it helps in the playoffs. But yeah, I think he's picking it up, and it wouldn't shock me at all if he has a really good month.
we talk about, sometimes I think we talk about the coaches and we don't know, we're not there, but the base running thing, they talk often on TV about how the Tigers are just cutting those bases perfectly, right? And shortening the angle and how important that is. So what I started doing during the Pirates series, especially, was watching some of the other teams. And boy, if you watch that, you can really catch some runners on other teams who really round the bases poorly compared to how the Tigers are just cutting that angle and shaving some distance off between bases. It's very impressive. That has to be harping from the coaching staff, at least partly.
Yeah, they did. It's a lot of it is just when Raj was down in Erie and was able to be in the after Erie clinched the playoffs and he was in the media scrum. Their manager Andrew Graham talked about focusing on the little things, right? And you put a ton of effort and focus on the little things, and the little things become big things. And that just really feels like they do that. Like you hear them talk about runners, if you're running from third to home, to go into the field, get in the way of that throw. It's not illegal, right? It's and just small things like that other teams maybe don't consider. I'm sure some of the good ones do, but just really harping on that stuff until the point where these guys are doing it every time. And it's working. It's working. It's a fun base running operation. Got to see the Tigers run around the bases quite a bit today. Yesterday was super annoying because it's that seems to happen every now and then where you meet a lefty junk baller and you can't do anything against him, and that's frustrating. But then the A's had that turned around on them today with Dietrich Enns, which is a great story.
Very fun story, and he looked pretty good. I mean, obviously the A's not the best offense in the world, but they got Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. I mean, there's some legit hitters in that lineup. And I didn't know Enns through. I mean, he touched 95, I believe, today, right? But he sat 94 on quite a few pitches. I didn't know he had 94 from a lefty. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. To call him it's not fair to call him like a junk baller like that Lopez was. I think Lopez was topping out at 91 or whatever. But he mostly got by with the fastball and the changeup today. But it was good. He kept everybody off balance. It was a nice game called by Jake Rogers, and he looks like a guy who's deserving of a second start. I will say that. You go that the changeup looks really good. He got I'm looking. He got 13 swings and misses today. And let's see, 7 on the fastball, 5 on the changeup, 1 on the sinker. So he threw in a cutter and a curveball as well, kind of as change of pace pitches. But you're getting 30+% CSW, called strike and whiff rate with both of those pitches. That's solid. Yeah. And this is 2 years in a row where the front office has kind of pulled a random left-hander off the scrap heap from somewhere and had him come up and contribute at the big league level. Last year it was Brian Sammons. And he parlayed that into a career over in Korea or Japan or something. Just a really good job of scouting and keeping a guy there that they like, and definitely helpful until I don't know, until Olson comes back. Maybe they'll keep Enns and send Gibson Long down. We'll see.
Maybe I feel like maybe I wish I could articulate it as well as you and Rahelia do, Chris. You guys are much better at it, but I feel like you see flashes with Gibson Long. I really wonder what would have happened if he didn't get this Tommy John surgery. I just feel like there's been maybe 4 or 5 outs stretches where I feel like he starts to settle into a groove and he looks good, but he can't keep it for long stretches going right now. And I guess I just hope that they don't give up on him too soon, because I just feel like there is something there. And I mean, I feel that way about Kender Montero too, and it feels like they're way more. I mean, obviously he's not coming off of Tommy John, but I just hope they don't give up on Gibson Long too quickly.
No, and I don't necessarily think they'd be giving up on him or anything like that, right? It's I think to me he's still not quite 100%, right? And that is through no fault of his own. It takes a while to get back to being fully 100% after these surgeries, and I think he will. And when he does, I mean, even when he came up a couple of years ago, I think he worked 5 innings in all 4 of his starts. I think,
right.
And that's, I think that's probably going to be his role no matter what, as kind of the fifth starter. You hope to get 5. If you get more than that, that's awesome. But yeah, I know that they really like him, and it does not. We talked about this in the other show. Like Scott Harris would happily have 30 big leaguers in Toledo if he could. So, and he can have Gibson Long sitting there in Toledo pitching. It's not great for Gibson Long or Montero to be down in Toledo, but it helps the organization and it helps the Tigers down the road. So they're gonna do it, and it goes with AJ Hinch's messaging that anybody who's on the 40 man, he wants them to know that they're part of this team too, and they, when they come up, they help, and they they send it back down. They say, we're going to need you again soon, which is good. I think it's good messaging for everybody.
Yeah. I don't mean to say you're thinking they'd give up on him. Just I just like what I saw. I like parts of what I'm seeing with him.
I do too. I think that they're going to keep giving him chances. It just maybe not his next turn, but we got some. But it was another good game today. The Torkelson had a nice game, hit that first home run. Torres had a very good game. McKinstry had a very good game. Meadows had a good game. It was and it's nice when Riley Green can go 0 for 4 and you score 8 runs because everybody else chipped in, and we'll allow the occasional Riley Green 0 for 4 because he's been an absolute monster for about 6 weeks now.
So with Torkelson, obviously he's been kind of chilly, pretty frosty for the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He did hit, he had a couple of screaming liners against Paul Skeens with no luck. I mean, they both got caught. To me, he's been a little late on a lot of pitches, a lot of fouls to the right side. Today, he was sitting on that changeup and he just crushed it. That was nice. And then the out to center field, I thought it was even a better swing. I probably went farther, but it
actually went. Yeah, the fly out was 408 feet at 104.6, and the home run was 372 feet at 95.6. Probably as soft a home run as Torkelson has ever hit.
And he had another single in there as well that I thought was pretty well hit ball.
Yep.
Hopefully that means he's starting to come out of it a little bit. It's just one game. We'll have to kind of see where it goes from here. But, you notice it in that lineup when he is quiet. That power source is missed. There's no question about it. But it's probably just the kind of there are a lot of sluggers around the league like this. I mean, they're quiet for a couple weeks and they go off for 5 or 10 days.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been Torkelson, what we predicted years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't think was he was going to be as bad as he was that first year or last year. Like I thought he was going to be more like this, where he's a guy that will give you a solid 3-4 games and then go hitless for 2 or 3 and hit you the occasional big home run, get you some doubles, knock in some runs. And yeah, he was going through a stretch there. So hopefully this is the beginning of a solid stretch where he can come up with a couple big knocks. And that's as long as you're not relying 100% on Spencer Torkelson to be your lone power source. I think he's a solid big league player. So
I didn't realize how bad it had gone in his last 28 days and 20 games. He's got a 592 OPS, OPS plus 51. He's only got 3 doubles and 3 home runs in 20 games. And all that being said, he still sports a 796 OPS.
Yeah.
So that's how well he was doing before this.
He had 17 home runs, tied for the team lead, a 122 WRC plus. That's that's about as low as you really want your first baseman's WRC plus to go. But to be an average big leaguer just because of the defensive penalty. But we've seen him get hot and pump that back up to 130 or something like that, and that's just fine. And again, like we said, if you're not relying on him to be your best hitter, and they aren't, then he's a solid player that is very useful.
And he's the kind of guy he could easily carry the club for half of July.
Yep.
I mean, wouldn't surprise anyone.
No, I mean back in the day we used to compare him a little bit to Justin Upton, who was had some of the most famous and infamous like heaters and going cold that you've ever seen.
Yep.
And it was that sort of powerful half swing almost like this. The follow through doesn't even go all the way because it doesn't need to. It just puts all the energy into the ball and stops.
Yes.
So yeah, and it's good to see that. And like we said, it's good to see Meadows perking up a little bit. McKinstry should be an all-star. I I don't know if he's going to be. It's kind of crazy to think about that. He's a 2.3 WAR at the All-Star break from Zach McKinstry.
Back for a while there in the All-Star game, they were naming a utility man as an All-Star, right? They quit that, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Like Omar Infante made the All-Star game once from the Braves, right? It was the utility man of the half season. That would be right up McKinstry's alley. That'd be perfect. He would totally deserve it if they still did that.
Yeah. But and then not everybody can make the All-Star team, and lots of players are good, and everybody needs a representative and stuff. But it's nice that the Tigers aren't getting the sympathy Gregory Soto All-Star anymore.
Joe Jimenez.
Yeah, the Joe Jimenez Memorial All-Star.
I was going to talk about this a little bit in one of our segments, but I can just say this. I was super excited that last year the Tigers were going to have 2 All-Stars.
Yeah.
I was pumped, and I talked about it. And it's looking a little silly right now because it's looking like they're going to have 5. And I'm going to be disappointed if they don't have 5, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody saw this coming, really. I mean, that's the one thing we talk about is I thought they were going to win 84 games.
I said 85. I think I had KC winning the division, and I had Cleveland making the playoffs.
No, anything can happen in the second half. We saw what the Tigers did last year. It's unusual for teams to do things like that, but a team could do it. But yeah, it's been a great season so far, and they look to continue it against the Twins this weekend. I don't know who the Twins have starting tomorrow, but it's Bailey Ober on Saturday and Chris Paddock on Sunday. And Ober, I think, has been awful lately.
Yeah.
But he seems like he always owns the Tigers. At least every time I've watched him pitch against the Tigers, it's like it reminds me of Chris Young from way back in the day. This tall guy who doesn't throw very hard is just getting outs. But I think
they're missing Joe Ryan then, right?
I think so, unless he's pitching tomorrow. I don't know. I didn't.
So I've got it pulled up, Chris. His numbers against the Tigers have an OPS of 671 against him in 11 starts.
It doesn't seem great.
Well,
one home run
tomorrow, so you got to believe if it was Ryan, he would know it.
Yeah, and I have to. And the Twins are playing awful baseball again right now, although they crushed the Mariners today. So I don't know. It's a good time to be playing the Twins, but the Tigers do need to go out there and execute, and the fans need to get down there. I think I may go down on Saturday to actually cover the game. It's been a minute since I've been down there, so that would be fun.
Well, with that, do we want to go into a first segment here?
Sounds good to me.
Chris, why don't you start us off with your by the numbers? I'm sorry we don't have the music.
No, it's all good. So my inside the number is 3.21. And this one's there's a little narrative behind this, although you can probably guess what that number is. It's when the Tigers faced Charlie Morton at the end of April. People may remember he actually came out of the bullpen and he was awful. He gave up 3 runs and 5 walks in under 4 innings. When he exited that game, his ERA was 10.36, and he's 41. He looked cooked. 3.21 is his ERA since then in 47.2 innings, 53 strikeouts, 14 walks. And since he went back to starting full time, they were still kind of using him out of the bullpen. So he went back to starting full time on May 26th. His ERA is 2.90.
Wow.
Which is he's tied for 10th among starters in WAR since then with 1.0. Scooble's 1.1 over that time. So he's been pitching that well. It makes me wonder if Morton might make for a decent trade target at the deadline. The Orioles haven't come out and said they're selling or anything like that, but they are currently 12 games under 500 and 12 games back in the AL East and 7.5 games back in the wild card. They may want to try to make a Tigers magical run, but Morton, like I said, is 41 and is in a 1-year deal with it was a 1 year and $15 million. So that seems like that might be kind of an interesting target. It's not the big sexy name that people want, but he's still sitting 94 with his fastball. He's still got a 32% whiff rate on his curve. The 4-seamer and changeup are both 25% whiff rates. He's a guy he pitched for Hinch for 2 years, and he has a 3.6 ERA and 80 plus playoff innings. So he might.
That's what I was going to say. The guy's taking the ball in big spots. He's not going to be afraid of anything.
So and I don't think it would necessarily cost you a ton to get him. Now I was going to suggest Jaden Ham, but Jaden Ham I think went on the injured list today, so that's not great. But someone like that, right? Like it's not going to cost you one of your top 5 prospects, certainly, unless the Orioles are still crazy. So I don't know, just a name to remember.
I like it.
Love it. What about you?
Okay, my numbers tonight. One is 0.622. The next one is 0.481. And the next one is 0.469. Those are winning percentages pulled out of the AL Central. The Tigers obviously at 0.622. They're playing 620 baseball. And that goes back to what we talked about earlier. Just the fact that they keep the steady drumbeat of winning that they've had. No big streaks either way. Because what I was struck by this week was I took a peek at the standings, and the Twins and the Royals, those are the other 2 winning percentages I just noted. The Twins with their win today are at 481. The Royals lost today. They're at 469. What's really interesting to me is the wild swings and variations those 2 teams have had. The Twins had a 13-game winning streak in May. Okay, and they won something like 17 out of 20, and they are sitting 3 games under 500. It's amazing. The Royals had a 15-2 stretch, which is just about as good as a 13-game winning streak, really, and they're 5 games under 500. So they have just been up and down on the sine curve like crazy. So when the Tigers are just, again, that steady drumbeat, win, 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 loss, win, loss, win, win. It's just really impressive. And I think that comes from a team that is fairly solid in all aspects of the game. They have the starting pitching. They have a solid bullpen. They play good defense. The offense does enough to compete. It's a no-name bunch of guys in a lot of respects outside of Skubal and maybe Green. But it's really come together as quite a ball club, and it's been a great first half.
Yeah, I actually I'm going to talk about them a little later as well. But by the numbers, we didn't really get into it too much. But my number, let's see if you guys know what this is, 1,371.
Riley Green's OPS over some certain period.
I would love that. I bet you it's pretty close. No, that is the number of days since the last time N started an MLB game.
Mm-hmm.
It was last in 2021 for the Rays. He pitched on September 24th, 2021. Went over to Korea, Japan for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And now he's back, and he pitched 1-run ball for 5 innings. I don't know. Just you can't really take that away from him. I don't care if it was the A's, because just ask Skubal, who gave up 4 runs, or Flaherty, who gave up 2. It doesn't really matter, especially a guy who hasn't seen big league batters for 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. Just I could have picked so many different things about that start, but just 1,371 days.
That's cool.
And go double check, but yeah.
I also enjoyed the fact that he's a Central Michigan Chippewa, and so is McKinstry. I wasn't aware of that. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a nice little connection that they had. And then I guess the Central Michigan radio guy was the announcer today for the A's.
Adam Jaska.
Yeah.
He's always he is the kind of sidekick announcer. I shouldn't say that with Jesse Goldberg Strassler. They do the Lansing Lugnuts games together. I think they both got to do the A's today. So I didn't know that either, and I'm really bummed out because that's awesome for those guys. They're great guys.
Yeah, I had a big tweet about that. I was reading that. So it's kind of a fun day. Chip, you don't think about Chippewa baseball too much, but obviously they've put a couple guys in the big leagues, and that's more than a lot of schools.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So yeah, I don't know if Raj. I think Raj is there somewhere. I don't know if he had it inside the number or if he's running on the inside of the bag.
Oh wait, we can see his camera like backstage, if you want to call it.
Yeah,
it just flipped on. I think he heard you.
What
He's
do
in
we
the
think
green room.
What's Rogers F4?
I don't know how often he's dropping F-bombs in the game, but
F4 is how well he uses it. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
analyzes your smack talk. I like it.
I cannot.
I cannot. We're trying to add him on here, but that might not be an option here. Well, we let him. Go ahead.
You could relay your number if you want.
Yeah, this is riveting podcast stuff. We're all just like watching the little video at the bottom of our screen, like,
Well, can you pop up? Or no, maybe I think it was Raj doing it. There's an interesting Richard Bossler has a nice inside the number. He says, my number, Yankees 9, Tigers 7, 22 innings, 7 hours, June 24th, 1962. I was there.
Wow.
That's
and that is definitely some like a relic nowadays with the way baseball is. That's never going to happen again.
Yeah, those 7-hour games.
Yeah,
that's very true, Mike. That's a great memory for Richard for that reason. Yeah, there's no more of those games with the Ghost Runner.
I don't know. We don't have to like spend too much time on this, but while we let Roger try to figure this out, is that a good thing? Is it a good thing that 7-hour games are gone? Is it a good thing that games aren't going to the 18th inning anymore? It never happened a ton, but I'm just curious what you guys think.
I always thought it was an overblown topic when MLB, Rob Manfred and somebody would say we have to protect the players. We have to get out of these games. We can't have these 18, 20 inning games. To me, that was silly. I mean, they happen once a month, maybe not even. I just thought it was, my initial thought was getting rid of them. It's killing a housefly with a hand grenade, right? I mean, you're really blowing up things trying to go after a small problem. But I'll be honest, the flip side is this. I do enjoy shorter games. I enjoy the shorter 9-inning games like crazy. I'm happy to be down at 2.5 hours. So I love the pitch clock. I don't have the big problem with the Ghost Runner I thought I would have. If I could change it myself, I would have him play regular baseball in the 10th inning and start in the 11th, but that's nitpicking.
Yeah, whoops, sorry. I kind of do miss. Oh, there's Raj. Raj, you made it, or not?
I don't know. I can't get my camera on me, but it's cool. There we go. But
you see the dog.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You guys can hear? Okay, all right. 45, and that was the amount of wins that Erie got to win the first half of the season. Now, the reason why that to me is impressive is the fact that do 45 wins. There we go. Whoa, well, that's too much of me. 45 wins in a season where Akron was not losing at all, and they didn't lose. And also the other one, I don't have a number for this, but the fact that or zero, as in the series, they didn't lose one single series at all. Zero.
Wow.
In the first half of the season. So that's impressive considering where this is a veteran team. They're the oldest team in the Eastern League, but ravaged by injuries. You have Jaden Ham now hit the IL. Your starting staff has been decimated by injuries. You have Miller out, you had Mel go up, and you basically have like just essentially Garrett Burham's holding it down with Pena, and that's it. And right now we're down 5-1, by the way. So
Oh no.
7-1. Sorry, 7-1.
Oof.
And this team's talking a lot of crap too, which is they're normally not cocky, but because they're winning now, all of a sudden they are. So
How'd your plate appearance go?
First I popped out. Second one I got a line drive. So
Nice.
Yeah, but cheers, gentlemen. But yeah, I think that's impressive to me that Erie was able to do that, and I am distracted, and that ball is gone.
Oh, for the other team.
Fuck.
All right.
Well,
listen,
off camera, gentlemen.
All right,
you guys got to grind it out, Raj.
Yeah.
You got to get the intensity up. You got to rally the troops. Let's go.
Did you want to make a comment on the long games before we move on, Chris?
Oh, yeah. I missed those a little bit. It seemed like they were always on the West Coast though, so it was not just like it wasn't just a 5-hour game. It was a 5-hour game that started at 10. And part of that was like it's really fun when you've got like a little community, either like a message board or it's Twitter or our Discord or whatever, and you're all going through it together. You're like, come on. But it sucks a lot when you play like a 19-inning game and lose. It's like, oh my God, what was the point? I think there are probably better ways, maybe more fun ways to do the I don't know. I always want to turn things into like a game show, basically, though, right? Like, so I would do like, before each game, you have a home run derby, and whoever wins the home run derby gets either you could say, oh, the runner starts on third, or they just automatically win the game. Like if it's tied after 9, the team that won the home run derby gets to win.
All right.
Or something like that. That I don't know, but yeah, whatever. It's I don't hate everything. It's just it doesn't feel a ton like baseball to me when they're starting guys on second and but whatever. It doesn't really affect the game that much.
That's fair. I was just curious. I don't think we've ever had a real discussion about it like this.
Well, sorry for my contributions, which weren't terribly real, but yeah, I still think. I think baseball tells you what they think about it when that they don't do it in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, so this is just something to get these games out of the way. Like these regular season games don't matter. But anyway, so I don't know. Ooh, Nashville, Tennessee might get a team. Well, that was the question from Mike Doyle. Sorry. What do you think of Nashville, Tennessee might getting a baseball team? I think Nashville is one of the bigger candidates. I think Charlotte is a good candidate. Portland is always, you mentioned Montreal again.
Yeah.
I haven't. There just hasn't been any real discussion of Major League Baseball expansion that I'm like. I hear all these talks of like teams trying to lure, or ownership groups trying to lure a team to their city. But we're going on, 30 years since they've expanded. It's the longest amount of period ever, or since they first expanded in the '60s, right?
Yeah, I think 98, right?
Yeah, the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Not the Rockies, the Rays and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think when you have two teams, well, obviously they think, and until that stadium is open, I don't believe Vegas happens until it happens, right? Mm-hmm. But they have to get the A's situated. They have to get the Rays situated. The Rays don't have a building right now, so if they're ever going to do something, now's the time. And move the Rays to Nashville, sure, why not?
Yeah. Well, just the people who live in Portland don't want a team.
That's probably true.
It's baseball has failed in Portland several times. I think most people want it just because it makes sense geographically. Like, Seattle needs somebody. Seattle needs a buddy. They travel too much. But I don't know. Whenever you like the places that could actually support another team are often places that already have teams. Like you could put another team in Oakland, right? Mm-hmm. You could give LA a third team, or you could put a third team in New York. You could do a Brooklyn team. It's not going to happen because the other teams don't want to split the share of revenue or whatever. Indianapolis could possibly be a big league. They've got an NFL team. Like they've got a basketball team. But they all these teams, all these cities have AAA teams basically. So
yeah.
But you just kick them out.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving. We're going to get to our next segment here. Yoop, why don't you start us off with your good, bad, ugly, whatever you got?
Okay, the good. For folks who may subscribe to Baseball America, or if they don't, I think the article might have been free. J.J. Cooper, one of their best writers, might be the managing editor. Is he, Chris? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I believe so. He and I think Matt Eddy are their co-managing editors.
No, there you go. Had an article about the Major League Strike Zone today. Really strongly suggest reading it. I loved it because it confirmed a couple of suspicions I've long held. But I think I would have liked it even if it didn't. He was talking about how consistent the Major League Strike Zone has become, and how the changes that they've made, how the umpires are adhering to it. There's statistical proof that it's only gotten better and better. My long-standing suspicion has been that the strike zone is getting narrower and bigger top to bottom, and the stats show it. And to me, and again, I'm an amateur umpire. I don't mean a hill of beans in the world of baseball. But the way I've always liked to call a strike zone is I don't understand why the batter gets penalized by the assumption that you're going to give pitchers a little bit off the plate to the outside. Okay, why should they have to reach out there to hit pitches that are out of the strike zone? And that's kind of where baseball has gone. They've shrunk the strike zone, made it more narrow, and to me, that gives hitters a much better chance. And I think that's why, if the game was getting overwhelmed by strikeouts a few years ago, that has started to lessen a little bit. I think the hitters have a much better chance now when those pitches have to be on the plate. Whether it's a little higher, a little lower, you can adjust to that. But having to chase way outside and stuff, I think was just getting too hard. So I really suggest people go out and read that article. It was really well done and had a lot of statistical backup to it. My bad was, turned into a good, which is always nice when a bad thing becomes good. The Tigers, since 2017, when they have hosted the A's in Comerica Park, the A's came in this week having been 21-4 since 2017. They had won 6 of the 7 series and split the other one. The Tigers had not won a series in Detroit versus the A's since 2016. So, and again, all the uniforms, they're all different guys in those uniforms. It has nothing to do with a core group of A's that have always come in here and slam the Tigers. It's just for whatever reason, the matchup every year stunk. And it was good that the Tigers, they dropped one game, but, they won the series in very Tiger-like fashion, win 2 out of 3 and move on. So it had been bad, but now it's a good thing. My other thing is this, the good, the bad, and I'm just going with the reality instead of the ugly today. The Tigers are 51-31. And certainly I would love for the next month that we talk about the players that they have and what this team is doing. But because it's a good baseball team. However, we have to face facts, right? The reality is it's July. They're a contender. Trade season. People expect them to add. So we're going to be talking a lot about the trade deadline. And my thought is this as we start it, and they have not made a single move. So we're going to get to see exactly what Scott Harris thinks. They have one of the top 5 farm systems in baseball. I think that everybody would agree on that. Some people think it's the best. Okay. So they have a great farm system in place. They also couple that with a low major league payroll. Okay. So you have all the trade ammo in the world. You also have a lot of payroll room to add whoever you want. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see because the Tigers are really set up to make the big move. If there is a real big star out there, they can afford it financially and they can afford the prospects to move to get that person or players. Does Scott Harris like the chemistry? Does he like the depth that his organization has? And he's only going to tinker by bringing in maybe a reliever because every contender brings in a reliever no matter what. That's kind of what teams do. Or are they going to go out and make that big move? People are talking about Alex Bregman today. That was the big thing all across Twitter. I think Nightingale mentioned it, right? And, Bob Nightingale mentions a lot of things. But, do the Tigers go with that big move because they can afford it and they have the ammo to do it? Or do they tinker? I think, to me, that is going to be the story of July as we push this deadline and to see if Scott Harris is going to, push all his chips in or if he's going to play it safe.
All right. I like it. I don't know. I'm sure we're going to talk about lots of trade deadline stuff in the weeks coming, so maybe we'll save it for that. Chris, why don't you go next? What do you got?
All right, my good is James Wood. Rhymes with good, of course. Kid's an absolute star in the making. If he's not already there, people may remember he was, of course, drafted by the Padres and Mark Connor in 2001, I believe. The same draft as Jackson Jobe. Same draft the Padres took Jackson Merrill. They saved money on Merrill somehow, and were able to give Wood more money at the 62nd pick. And yeah, he's just been outstanding. He is 6'7", 240 pounds, super athletic, currently batting .277, 373, 554 with 22 homers and 9 steals through 81 games. It's a 155 WRC plus. He's at 3.3 WAR already. Over the last calendar year, he's been a top 20 hitter, and he's 22. Doesn't turn 23 until mid-September. I don't think we're going to see another Aaron Judge, but if there is one, it's probably James Wood, except a left-handed version. So yeah, really, really good young player, really impressive. If I were to the Nationals, I would be giving him all the money. My bad. Speaking of giving the money, is Walker Buehler. And what's the old saying? Sometimes the best free agent is the one you don't sign.
Yes.
Walker Buehler is he's been pretty awful for the Red Sox this year. He's got a 6.29 ERA right now. It's a 5.74 FIP, so it's not just unlucky. It's negative 0.4 FWAR, negative 1.1 BWAR, one of the worst pitchers in baseball. He's still striking people out at a decent rate, but he's just given up tons of walks and homers, which is always not a good combination. And over his last 5 starts, he's just been absolutely brutal. 22 innings, 34 hits, 7 home runs, 16 walks, 20 strikeouts. That's a 10.64 ERA over his last 5 starts. Maybe he can get it back. I tend to put hopeful cases in the bad area, but yeah, I mean this is going on, and he hasn't basically been good since he came back from that second Tommy John surgery. He had like a little bit of a run there in the playoffs for the Dodgers, but yeah, it's not looking great for Walker Buehler. And my ugly, it's a team we've talked about a whole bunch. It's the Rockies. It's not the fact that they still have the worst record in baseball at 1863. It's not the fact that they have the worst offense in baseball at a 74 WRC plus or a bottom 5 defense or the worst pitching in baseball. We expect all that. The ugly is that their president CEO just stepped down, or he's stepping down at the end of the year, and he will be replaced by Walker Monfort, the 38-year-old son of team owner Dick Monfort. He's basically me. He went to Colorado State and got a journalism degree, with a business minor. I had a marketing minor, and as soon as he graduated, he got that first big job with an MLB team, the Colorado Rockies. He's been working through the Rocky system ever since 2009. He's done nothing but work in the Rockies, and now he's going to be in charge of things. And this adds to, of course, the owner Dick Monfort, his brother, who is also co-owner, and the other son, Sterling, who is their head of pro scouting. So I don't think things are going to get much better. I don't know. I feel for the Rockies fans. They have great fans out there. It's a great stadium. It's a great atmosphere. But I don't think things are going to get much better.
Yikes. And well, just want to say thank you, Joe Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Joe Hill.
Hi, Joe.
Appreciate it. I kind of agree with Deadly Ninja Bees, though. Like, man, just kicking them while they're down, Chris, huh? Yeah, it's bad now. You wait.
Just you wait.
Well, just turning it into a family business is just something straight out of the 1920s. I mean,
it reminds me. It reminds me a lot of what was going on with the Lions under William Clay Ford.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much nepotism. I mean, there's always nepotism in sports. Like Al Avila had like 14 relatives in the Tigers organization. But yeah, it's like when you elevate people to these important positions and they aren't qualified, that's when everything goes wrong. And you see it. Not that the current guy is doing a great job, right? But it's I don't know. The stink from that family is going to be on the Rockies corpse for forever.
I mean, just the poor guy. The poor guy's name is Sterling Monfort.
I know.
This sounds like somebody who makes wine in Italy or something. I don't know.
Yes,
Sterling
Monfort.
You're setting up for failure there.
Right.
But,
grief.
All right. For me, I have my good is I've kind of already talked about all mine. I feel like my good, bad, and the ugly are just ultimately just topics that we all talk about throughout the show, and I'm just going to highlight on them a little bit. My good is the Tigers All-Star chances. I brought this up. I was talking a bunch because I was like, the Tigers have had 1 or 2 All-Stars every year since 2016, right? And I was pumped that they were going to have 2 last year, which was Riley Green and Tarek Skubal. This year, they are on pace to have 5 All-Stars. And I know this is just a silly accolade, but to me, it tells you public perception and national perception of your team. And the last time the Tigers had 5 All-Stars, which I expect them to have, with Riley Green, Javi Baez, Tarek Skubal. Oh my God, I have so much open. We have
Dingler?
Dingler?
There's 2 other people that are in the finals.
Canely, Vest?
Torres. Yeah, it's Torres and
Torres.
Canely. I would expect those 5. All right. The last time the Tigers had 5 All-Stars, it was 2013, and that was Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder, Torrey Hunter, Johnny Peralta made the All-Star team that year, and Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander starting pitchers. So that was the last time that the Tigers had, I guess, just the worthy talent of 5 or more All-Stars. And that team was pretty good. They almost won it all. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any comparison or real correlation between the two, but it's interesting to see national perception there. For my bad, someone else brought it up earlier. And the angle I'm going with this is the Tampa Bay Rays, because they finally decided to open their pocketbook and they decided to pay somebody. And then that dude went and got arrested and now was found guilty today. So Wander Franco was found guilty. He has a 2-year suspended jail sentence. I don't want to go into the story. It's just the way I look at it is Tampa Bay so stingy. They trade away every guy that has even a fraction of that talent. And then they're like, no, let's pay the guy. No. And then this happens. And now it just feels like one of those things where the Rays are like, well, never again. This is why we don't do this. And maybe the Rays will just never pay anyone ever again. We're going to have to get a stadium first, So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I figured we'd be discussing that at some point tonight, so I left it off mine. But yeah, it's that's brutal. It's a 2-year basically work release or whatever. Like he's not actually in jail. He just can't. He'll go to prison if he tries to hook up with an underage girl again,
or he gets in trouble or something. Yeah. It's like more or less.
It's sad. The guy he really had a great career in front of him. He was a solid ball player in every respect. And wow, you just never know behind closed doors what's going on.
But yeah, and my ugly is something that you brought up earlier today as well. It's just the rest of the AL Central. A month ago, I believe my good was the AL Central, maybe a little more than a month ago, because they had 4 teams over 500. At one point, all 3 AL Central teams, there were going to be 3 AL Central wildcard teams. That's how it would have ended at certain points earlier in this year. And now it just doesn't. It looks like all of a sudden the AL Central of old is kind of peeking its ugly head back. Tigers and Cleveland are the only teams above 500. Cleveland is a game above 500. Minnesota looks more like the team that started 7-15 than the team that went, like you said, 17-3 immediately after that. And KC is absolutely fallen off a cliff. They're at 38-43 right now.
Can't hit.
I don't know. I can't believe how much we were lauding them when really it was just a hot start for maybe 3 teams. And then Minnesota, still don't understand Minnesota's trajectory, but that's what happens when you get injured. And unfortunately, it just seems like even everything about Minnesota would made them so good. Their pitching staff was doing great. Their bullpen was leading the majors in ERA, and now they're just getting hit by injuries. So, I mean, I'm not saying there aren't reasons, but AL Central looks like it might just be back to a one playoff team league this year.
Well, at some point, there's going to be some weight to the math, right? There's going to be too much ground to make up. The Tigers are 9.5 games up. They have 80 games to go. If they just play 500 baseball, they're a 92-win team. For the Guardians or anybody else to get to 92 wins, they're going to have to play probably 600 plus baseball for a half a season. I don't know if any of them have that in them.
As opposed to the flip side, the Tigers, I keep telling this to everybody, like, if they play 500 baseball the rest of the year, I'll kill for 92 wins, you know? Like, I'm totally fine with that. Oh, hello.
Well, I know we're about to get out of here, gentlemen, and that being said, Tigers play their game, they'll be fine. But the Tigers still need to be aggressive at the trade deadline. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
True.
But
Are
you guys ready to? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I know that, you know, Bob Nightingale says a lot of stuff, but I like being interested in that, showing any interest in Alex Bregman. Before we even heard about the actual offer, we really didn't know if the Tigers were interested in Alex Bregman because it keeps everything so close to the chest. So that that gives me a little more hope in an aggressive trade line than before I heard that today.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, how long is Bregman out? Do we know?
Who?
Until after the All-Star break. I think they're looking to get him back post All-Star break, right after.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thanks so much. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We lost, by the way, 11-5. I had a bunt single for a hit. I actually outran a.
You're on the bunt?
Yeah, this guy got a bunt single.
Damn.
So we still lost, but it's hot. Thanks so much for the donation, by the way. I think it was Jay or John. Thank you so much for that.
Joe.
Joe, thank you, Joe. Much appreciated. Stay classy, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you Monday for the the Tiger Mountain Report, and there's gonna be some extra content coming out this weekend as we get ready for the draft. So, well, yeah, Mike Doyle, let's go get Zach in Korea. That would be badass. It is, yeah. It is a long season, and we're hitting the home stretch, guys. And thanks again. We'll see you soon.